Behind the glittering skyscrapers and beneath the American dream lies a stark reality that many choose to ignore. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on America's hidden crisis. What if I told you that in some U.S. cities, nearly half the population lives below the poverty line? Stay tuned, because what you're about to learn might change everything you thought you knew about American prosperity. Hey everyone, welcome back to Global Trails. Before we dive into today's sobering countdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because we're about to explore a side of America that mainstream media rarely shows you. Starting from number 10, we have Rochester, New York. Welcome to Rochester, New York, where 31.3% of residents live below the poverty line. Once a booming hub of innovation, home to industrial giants like Kodak and Xerox, Rochester's story is one of dramatic economic transformation and not for the better. The decline of these corporate titans sent shockwaves through the community. When Kodak employed 62,000 people in the 1980s, Rochester thrived. Today, less than 3,000 remain employed by the company, leaving a generational impact that's still felt across the city. What's particularly heartbreaking is the child poverty rate, which hovers around 48%. That means nearly half of Rochester's children go to bed uncertain about their next meal. The city's education system struggles with a graduation rate of just 68%, perpetuating a cycle of poverty that's becoming harder to break. However, Rochester isn't taking this line down. Local initiatives like ROC the Future and Connected Communities are working to create pathways out of poverty. The city's innovation zone is attempting to attract new tech companies, while workforce development programs are helping residents adapt to the changing job market. Median household income, $35,590. Unemployment rate, 8.2%. Food insecurity rate, 25%. Housing cost burden, 45% of residents. But as concerning as Rochester's situation is, it's just the beginning of our countdown. 9. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. At 32.6%, Milwaukee's poverty rate tells a story of stark contrast and historical divisions. Wisconsin's largest city bears the unfortunate distinction of being one of America's most segregated metropolitan areas. The roots of Milwaukee's poverty crisis trace back to decades of redlining, industrial decline, and systemic inequality. The north side of the city, predominantly African American, faces poverty rates approaching 40%, while some suburban areas maintain poverty rates below 5%. The disparity is visible in everything from housing quality to food access. Milwaukee's 53206 zip code has become synonymous with urban poverty, where nearly 42% of residents live below the poverty line, and over 60% of adult males have spent time in correctional facilities. However, organizations like Running Rebels and the Milwaukee Urban League are fighting back. Job training programs, youth mentorship, and community development initiatives are creating new opportunities for residents. Black poverty rate, 38.2%. Child poverty rate, 41%. Median household income, $38,289. Food desert coverage, 30% of city. While Milwaukee struggles, its community spirit remains unbroken. 8. Fresno, California. Surrounding farmland in California's agricultural heartland, Fresno presents a paradox. Surrounded by some of the world's most productive farmland, yet 33.2% of its residents live in poverty. The city's economic challenges stem from its heavy reliance on seasonal agricultural work, limited economic diversification, and one of California's highest unemployment rates. Despite being in America's most prosperous state, Fresno residents face some of the nation's most severe economic hardships. The housing crisis hits particularly hard here. With California's soaring real estate prices, even modest homes are out of reach for many residents. Nearly 60% of Fresno renters are cost-burdened, spending more than 30% of their income on housing. But there's hope. Programs like Fresno Metro Ministry and the Food Commons are working to create sustainable food systems and job opportunities. The city's downtown revitalization project aims to create new economic opportunities. Agricultural worker poverty rate, 45%. Air quality ranking, among worst in U.S. Housing cost burden, 60% of renters. Unemployment rate, 11.2%. The contrast between Fresno's agricultural wealth and urban poverty highlights a deeper American crisis. 7. Buffalo, New York. With a poverty rate of 33.7%, Buffalo embodies the challenge of Rust Belt cities fighting to reinvent themselves. Once a major industrial port and railway hub, Buffalo's decline mirrors the larger story of American manufacturing. Historical footage of industrial era. The city's golden age saw it as a terminus of the Erie Canal, with grain silos and steel mills providing thousands of well-paying jobs. Today, many of these industrial monuments stand empty, silent testimonies to economic transformation. The east side of Buffalo bears the heaviest burden, with some neighborhoods experiencing poverty rates above 45%. Winter heating costs, aging infrastructure, and limited public transportation create additional challenges for low-income residents. Yet Buffalo shows signs of resilience. The Buffalo Billion Investment Program, tech startup initiatives, and medical corridor development are creating new opportunities. Grassroots organizations like Push Buffalo are transforming abandoned properties into affordable housing. Vacant housing rate, 15%. Winter utility burden, 38% of income. Youth unemployment, 35%. Educational attainment gap, 25%. But as we continue our countdown, the challenges only intensify. 6. Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama's largest city, grapples with a 34.1% poverty rate, a stark reminder of the economic challenges facing the Deep South. Once the industrial heart of the Southeast, known as the Pittsburgh of the South, Birmingham's story is one of transformation and struggle. The city's poverty isn't just about economics. It's intertwined with its civil rights history. While Birmingham has made tremendous strides since the 1960s, the economic echoes of segregation still reverberate through its neighborhoods. Today, neighborhoods like Marks Village and Gate City face poverty rates exceeding 45%. The closure of steel mills and manufacturing plants has left a vacuum in the job market that service industry positions haven't fully replaced. However, Birmingham is experiencing a renaissance in healthcare and technology sectors. The University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB, provides thousands of jobs, while Innovation Depot is nurturing new startups. Single-parent household poverty, 48%. Healthcare access gap, 32%. Manufacturing job loss, 60% since 1970. New tech job growth, 15% annually. Moving up our list, we find even more challenging situations. 5. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland's 34.8% poverty rate tells the story of a proud city fighting to recover from decades of industrial decline. The city that once powered America's industrial revolution now struggles with one of the nation's highest concentrated poverty rates. The collapse of manufacturing hit Cleveland particularly hard. Neighborhoods like Kinsman and Central show the devastating impact, with some areas experiencing poverty rates above 50%. But Cleveland isn't giving up. The city's health tech corridor is attracting new businesses, while programs like the Cleveland Foundation's Greater University Circle initiative are creating innovative solutions to poverty. The downtown area's revival, anchored by world-class institutions like the Cleveland Clinic, shows potential for economic renewal. Yet, this growth hasn't reached all neighborhoods equally. Child poverty rate, 49.4%. Food insecurity, 35.2%. Lead exposure risk, 40% of homes. Job accessibility gap, 58%. 4. Newark, New Jersey. Just miles from Manhattan's wealth, Newark struggles with a 35.2% poverty rate. This stark contrast exemplifies America's growing urban inequality. Despite hosting one of the nation's busiest ports and a major international airport, many Newark residents remain disconnected from these economic engines. The city's industrial legacy has left environmental challenges and health disparities. Yet Newark is fighting back. Programs like Newark 2020 aim to connect residents with local jobs, while the city's Universal Basic Income pilot program shows promising results. The transformation of the education system, supported by Mark Zuckerberg's famous $100 million grant, continues to evolve, though results remain mixed. Youth unemployment, 35%. Environmental justice issues, 67% of neighborhoods. High school graduation rate, 77%. Living wage job gap, 42%. But our next city faces even greater challenges. 3. New Orleans, Louisiana. With a 35.8% poverty rate, New Orleans continues to demonstrate both the impact of natural disasters and the resilience of the human spirit. Nearly 2 decades after Katrina, many neighborhoods haven't fully recovered. The storm exposed and exacerbated existing inequalities, creating what some call a tale of two cities. While tourists flock to the French Quarter, neighborhoods like the lower Ninth Ward still struggle with basic infrastructure and services. The tourism-dependent economy creates many jobs, but few pay living wages. Yet New Orleans' cultural wealth remains undiminished. Community organizations like the People's Assembly and the Neighborhood Development Foundation work to preserve both culture and affordability. Key statistics: tourism worker poverty rate, 40%. Housing cost burden, 65%. Climate vulnerability, 70% of residents. Cultural economy workers, 35%. As we near the top of our list, the challenges intensify. 2. Memphis, Tennessee. At 36.2%, Memphis's poverty rate reflects deep-rooted challenges in the city of soul and struggle. Despite its rich musical heritage and cultural significance, Memphis grapples with some of America's most severe economic disparities. While tourists flock to Beale Street in Graceland, just blocks away, neighborhoods like South Memphis and North Memphis face devastating poverty. The city that gave birth to the blues continues to weather its own economic blues. The statistics are particularly alarming for children, with nearly 44% of Memphis's youth living in poverty. The city's reliance on logistics and transportation jobs, while significant, hasn't created enough living wage opportunities for many residents. However, initiatives like the Memphis 3.0 Comprehensive Plan and the Universal Life Insurance Building Revival show promise. Organizations like MIFA, Metropolitan Interfaith Association, and Knowledge Quest are working to break the cycle of generational poverty. Key statistics: child poverty rate, 44%. Food insecurity, 38%. Single-parent household poverty, 52%. Workforce participation gap, 35%. But our final city tells an even more challenging story. 1. Detroit, Michigan. Topping our list with a staggering 37.9% poverty rate, Detroit embodies both the American dream's decline and its potential for renewal. Once the symbol of American industrial might, the Motor City's story is now one of survival and reinvention. The city that put America on wheels has seen its population plummet from 1.8 million in 1950 to less than 700,000 today. The auto industry's transformation left behind vast areas of abandoned factories and homes, creating one of the nation's largest urban prairies. In some neighborhoods, poverty rates exceed 60%. The city's bankruptcy in 2013 marked the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history, leaving deep scars on public services and infrastructure. Yet, Detroit refuses to surrender. Urban farming initiatives like the Michigan Urban Farming Initiative are transforming vacant lots into food sources. The downtown and midtown revival, sparked by Dan Gilbert's investments and other developers, shows promising signs of economic rebirth. New technology companies and startups are moving in, while programs like Detroit at Work and Focus help provide job training and placement services. The city's art scene thrives, with the Heidelberg Project and Eastern Market showcasing Detroit's creative resilience. Key statistics: functional illiteracy rate, 47%. Vacant land, 40% of city lots. Public transportation access, 22% coverage. New business growth, 15% annually. These 10 cities tell a larger story about American inequality, resilience, and the ongoing struggle for economic justice. While the statistics are sobering, each city shows signs of hope and renewal. As we've seen, poverty in America isn't just about numbers. It's about people, communities, and unrealized potential. But there's hope in every story we've covered. Here's how you can help. Support local initiatives in these cities. Advocate for policy changes. Volunteer in your community. Share this video to raise awareness. Remember, change starts with understanding. Like and subscribe for more in-depth looks at the issues that matter. And don't forget to check the description for links to organizations making a difference in each of these cities. Together, we can work toward a more equitable America